Hey everyone, Ittarra Oda here, bringing you a little discussion panel because I found out more stuff about Soulcalibur VI that I believe you guys should know, as well as an open discussion and everything else. I am joined by my friend Spencer, aka Fakkukuroneko, I hate your gamertag, and what's going to end up happening here is this is just an open discussion of the top 5 things that I would like in Soulcalibur VI, and you guys feel free to leave your comments and opinions and thoughts in the comment section below, and I will gladly read and listen to them and everything else, because honestly, there's a lot of discussion that we can do, and we all have different opinions on what it is, but this is personally my top 5, and, you know, you feel free to disagree, agree, say it's good, say it's bad, say it's in the middle, and say, what the fuck are you on, Oda, by saying these things. But I hope that you guys will enjoy it, and also, just so you know, we will be fighting a little bit in between, just so you don't have to stare at the screen, but mostly this is just an open discussion. Now, the number one thing that I personally want from Soulcalibur VI is more single-player modes, Chronicles of the Sword, Weapon Master mode, just something in general that means that you can actually have a lot of fun without having to pretty much tear your hair out at AI, because let's be realistic here, the story mode and whatever else was on here, on Soulcalibur V, was literally just hot death served on cancer, okay? Pretty much everything was just bad when it came to single player. You had arcade mode, legendary souls, and story mode. We don't talk about story mode. And what ends up, and you know, if you had more single player modes, it would probably be a lot better. Spencer, you said that you wanted to actually say something about, like, you know, how everything is. So go right ahead for it.
Soulcalibur Lost Swords. Let's talk about that atrocity.
Because it really was.
I think it's Soulcalibur VI. They shouldn't just trash Lost Swords. I could see how it appeals to a casual gamer, because I see how people, you know, enjoy creations. We'll get on to creations later on, but right now, Lost Swords should have been a single-player mode in Soulcalibur V as an adventure mode, basically. You know, level up a character, blah blah. Take character and fight in special lobbies with that character. You get those powers in an online fight and stuff, but it's all separate from the competitive players and the casual players by 2 different mode screens, basically. But instead, they decided to release the free-to-play, and I thought it was a really bad part on
it was like a shameless cash grab that should have just been free to begin with.
Yeah.
Like, it shouldn't have been, you know, hey, we're going to release this as a standalone, but, you know, it could have been just like a free update to Soulcalibur V or something of the nature, and it would have probably smoothed over a lot better, because the way that they actually, promoted it and showed it, it was like, Soulcalibur VI lost, you know, or something like that, and it's like, you sons of bitches. Because you gotta think of it this way. If Lost Swords was its own mode instead of its own game, you know, that actually probably would have been a lot smoother than, you know, kind of jerking the community around.
You know, they'd have all their separate achievements for it and shit. There'd be a lot to do, and it'd be something to do when you're bored and there's nothing else to do, really. But the idea that they have for it is really good, and I see how it appeals to casual players really great. But I hope that they don't trash it and just forget about it. I hope that they do something really good with it in Soulcalibur VI. Basically like a Chronicles mode. It's something that really needs to happen, Oda.
If it was just, like we said before, if it's its own separate mode, it would have probably been really, really fine. You know, there wouldn't have been really much of a problem. But, you know, because it was its own standalone, they decided that they were going to literally put the most broken of moves in the game and just said, fuck it. You know, that kinda was not a smart move. But if they actually make it to where, you know, so the way that they change up Soulcalibur V to Soulcalibur VI, I kind of hope that, you know, what ends up happening is they keep the moves the same throughout both modes, so that way no matter what you're doing, no matter what you're playing, you can actually learn, which is, you know, pretty much one of the best things that you can get. Go ahead and ready up, Spencer, we're gonna fight it. Okay. The second thing that I want back is I want the proper cast. Now hear me out. Patroclus, good fighting style, because it doesn't really play off of anything that was in previous Soul Caliburs. However, Leisha, Natsu, Jiba, they were not good enough to fill the shoes of the people that they actually were filling. Now, when you think of, you know, if we want Kill It back, and it's not because Jiba sucks, it's because Jiba cannot replace Kill It. That's it. If you wanted to make Jiba his own standalone character, Leisha, Natsu, if you wanted them to all have their own variations of it, it'd be fine. But, you know, when you're comparing the... Shit! But when you're comparing the, how they are, like, the predecessors to who they are, they don't add up. It does not add up. What do you think, Spence?
Yeah, I like Shiba as a character really well. I really do. He's one of the characters I actually have part of my main, as you know, Oda. It's just, they shouldn't have took Felix out because he's a real big part of Soulcalibur. Like, he was one of the poster boys in Soulcalibur 1, wasn't he, on the fucking disc for the Dreamcast?
Soulcalibur 1 and 2, he is, like, the main protagonist. You suck.
Yeah. And he and Shangwa had such a big role in it, along with Siegfried. I love the way that they did Siegfried, but then they just kind of added they just forgot about them and added their kids. I mean, they play really cool. I like how they play. They're nothing like their parents, which I really like too. But it's just their parents both fight completely differently, and those are fighting styles they shouldn't have just ripped out of the game.
And it's like, you gotta think of it this way. Zwei, Viola, I know Viola is like, you know, a big thing, but when it comes right down to it, Viola was actually a relatively good character just out of the blue. You know, she didn't really have much of, I don't believe she had much of anything besides just, you know, hey, we're gonna draw her on paper and then we're gonna see. What do you think?
Yeah.
You think that's about right?
God
damn it! My twitching!
I remember back in when the game first came out, everybody didn't want to use her because she had really weak neutrals. She had weak everything. Nobody wanted to use her. No one understood how her brave edges work at all. And everyone was telling her, Namco, that she needed a really big buff. And I'm sitting here just thinking, like, why does she need a buff? When she's
the game's not even a week old.
Yeah, you people just don't know how to use her. And people were still bitching and complaining all over forums and stuff, and that's what led to Viola being the broken trash that she is now. I don't want to continue with this discussion now. I'm treading in the dark waters. I'm about to die.
The creature.
Before the Viola army come and get me.
You are emptier. You are emptier still. It's like, oh god, no! Please save me. Alright, number 3 that I would want. Keep the online strong. Now, I'm gonna say this right now. This game, compared to Soulcalibur 4, might as well be, for online, is just astounding. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You're a twat. Now, granted, you know, hitboxes are a little wonky every now and again, but, you know, that's to be expected. You know, you can't have perfection no matter which way you slice it, because it just will not work out. It's online. There's going to be problems. I mean, sure, you got Killer Instinct, that's pretty much borderline the most perfect fighting game for online there is. And you suck! What? I didn't twitch! Fuck you, D-pad! Anyway, what is it, the online needs to continue the way it goes, because, let's be realistic here. If the online is as splendid as it is, and only gets better, you're pretty much golden to have one of the best onlines there is. Like, you can have, nice buffer. Damn it! Oh my, I hate you. What is it? When you're doing the online, you know, you can have the most immaculate fighting game ever. Offline and everything else. But if it has a shit online, that really hinders the sales. We're looking at you, MKX!
God, MKX.
We're looking at you, NetherRealm.
PC.
Fucking
fix that shit.
You know, and people will say, oh, just get used to it. No, fuck you! I should not have to pay $60 to get used to it.
Oh my god.
I
I
hate
remember
you.
that back at Soulcalibur 4. People told me that. I'd be like, oh, dude, it's lagging all the time. Oh, well, you just gotta get used to it. I would sit there and be like, you shouldn't have to do that. Especially when MKX first came out. I joined an MKX group. I love those dudes.
Those dudes are awesome.
They're really nice.
Yeah, they are.
It's just there's a couple of people
Link will be here.
and say, oh, you need to get used to the online. I hope Soulcalibur 6 doesn't fall prey to the new generation's online issue. Like, I've noticed a lot of games right now in the new generation have really shitty online.
And launches.
Launches, especially launches. Look at fucking
Halo.
Looking at Battlefield 4. Halo, Battlefield 4, a lot of games.
Oh no! No! Let me live! Let me live! You suck!
Why a developer is allowed to do that? What the fuck? Is allowed
Whoa,
to
what
do
the
that
fuck?
and not suffer.
Hang on! What? Okay, god damn it. Didn't show it. Alright. But yeah.
I don't see how a developer can sit there and make an incomplete game like that and then just release it. Say, oh, we got all this badass shit, but let's just not work on the online because, you know, no one plays online. Fuck online, you know. MKX, let's use the same netcode as MK9 and blah blah, and not build and make it better. And it just makes me mad when a fighting game does that, because then it's more difficult for me to train, and more difficult for a lot of other people to train and get into the FGC more. That's why if a lot of fighting games would have the online, and hopefully Soulcalibur 6 gets it, I think that we'll see a lot of new faces in the FGC, Oda. Like, a lot.
Now, if you guys want an accurate representation of what it means to actually have at least a halfway decent online, Soulcalibur V is it. Like, you know, yes, there's fluxing, of course, because, you know, because of how it is and everything else. But a real solid online, like, it would be like KI, BlazBlue, Guilty Gear, and then it would be like Soulcalibur V. You know, it's like that perfect middle ground. I don't want, you know, the most perfect online there is. I don't... You suck! God damn it. Okay. It's like, I don't want the most perfect online there is. I'm more than happy to have, you know, that perfect middle ground, you know, where it's like, I can connect to who I want to connect to. I can actually train. I can actually do what I need to do. But it doesn't have... What was it? What was the delay on MKX? Like a 2-second delay? At worst?
For me and you, when we played, it was about a second delay, and at moments it ended up being a second and a half.
Yeah. It's like, that is unacceptable. You know, even in this game, online, it's unacceptable to have any type of lag whatsoever, because there's a lot of things that require, like, what, 2 frame, like, Ukemi Just Guard. Ukemi Just Guards. You know, it's like, those are real things on offline. You know, and sometimes you can't pull them off online. You know, so it's one of those things where it's like, you can't really, you know, you can skate by with this because I still learn. I can still put in. I can still have fun. Lag is not a determining factor in... Give me a percentage. 80, not 80, like 70% of matches for MKX end up being that way because, what is it? It's like, if you're, with MKX, if you're right down the street, there's no problem. But Spencer's in Michigan, I'm in Florida. And yet, last gen, we can hold, what do you say? We maybe lag out maybe 5% of our matches total?
Probably.
You know, and it's like, that's, you know, and it's like, that's amazing when you think about it. No matter what, you can't get away from lag. But when you're but when you can actually keep fighting and there's no problems, that's amazing. That's what you want. Even if it's mediocre, even if it's not as perfect as KI was, or as perfect as BlazBlue or Guilty Gear, it's still a great netcode, and that's what you want. That's what I want. I would take this netcode over to the 1 and be happy with it. Or, you know, PS4 and so on and so forth. What is it? On to number 4. The number 4 is mostly directed towards Namco and Bandai. This is just, you know, and I understand, you know, they have a lot more games, but I do not want them to give up needlessly on this game to go and harvest and milk Tekken. Because Soulcalibur V got, I think, 3 updates. they got 3 updates total, maybe a couple of hot fixes here and there, but majority, they only got 3 updates, and then the game was on its own. There was no more support, there was no more, hey, we're gonna work on this. It suffered from the UMVC 3 syndrome, the Capcom syndrome. Thank you. It suffered from that, where you had to literally yank the arms down into whatever in order for you to actually get an update that was desperately needed to fix something that was broken, fix something that was unbalanced. I know UMVC3 and balance in the same sense. But what it comes down to it is, I do not want, this game to die within, 6 months? If that?
I don't know.
It was...
After launch, it was rough. It was really rough.
And it's like, let's be realistic here. If you look at another fighter, like, we'll just use KI, because, that's, like, one of the great fighting games for next gen. We're just going to use that as an example. The way that they're doing it is they are adding more and more things, and there's a full support team to actually jot down things that are broken and everything else, because when it comes to fighters, you cannot let it go. When it comes to shooters, such as Call of Duty, Battlefield, you have a little bit more latency. You can kind of get away with a few things here and there. But with a fighter, it's kind of almost game-breaking just in general when things go unnoticed. You can always work around certain things and everything else, but with a fighter, just in general, you are not just taking on a game, you're taking on a life. You're taking on a baby here. You gotta nurse this motherfucker and take care of this shit, alright? You cannot just let it go and wander the streets and hope that, it can make its way home during the night. You gotta hold its hand and make sure that, you bring that, you just gotta make sure that it just works. Because if you give up halfway through, then there's a lot of things that won't get fixed. There's a lot of things that still are that are really buggy on here. But nobody will fix it because it's way too far past. But then you look at Killer Instinct and everything else, and they're getting a 3rd season, and there's still more patches coming to actually fix what is necessary. And also because people think...
In 2016.
Yeah, it's Season 3 with Battletoads, with... Rash. His name was Rash. I want to say either Rash or Nash. And, it's like, you gotta think of it that way. How awesome would it be if Soulcalibur V got the same support and love that, another fighter would get? Constantly getting updated and everything else. That's what I want for Soulcalibur VI. I don't want this game to just be forgotten because of Tekken or something like that. I'm glad that an independent company within Bandai Namco is handling all this. But, just as a whole, I hope that they actually treat it like, hey, this is just as precious. You know what I mean? Because, don't get me wrong, Tekken's a great game. But it's like, you have to treat your respective series, because Tekken and Soulcalibur have been side by side since the beginning of frickin' time. In the intro for Soulcalibur, A Tale of Souls and Swords and Fists should have been a thing, because of how close they get released. Their stories are pretty much interchanging. Thank you! Yoshimitsu, for God's sake! He's bottom tier in Tekken, but he's pretty good in here. It's like, what the is going on here? So it's like, it's that interchangeable. So, you can't really just say, one series is better than the other. I feel like, Soulcalibur and everything else, if it got the proper respect it deserved, then, it would probably be a lot better. Now, I'm going to put an annotation, you're going to see it in the very beginning, that, Tokyo Game Show that is coming up September... It's 15th to 17th or 5th to 7th. And Namco is going to be holding a panel there, and there is going to be news for Soulcalibur. I heard that through the Vineyard. Like I said, it's really tough to get information. But there will be an annotation in the very beginning of the video stating it. It'll be a big box that'll say, Tokyo Game Show and everything else while I'm talking and doing the intro, so you guys will stay informed. And the fifth and final thing... Go ahead and ready up, Spencer. I'd rather do a visual for this. The fifth and final thing that I want in Soulcalibur VI, better Create-A-Souls. Now, you might be wondering, what the hell can that possibly mean? Well, I'm going to show you immediately right here what that means. Like, now, no matter what, in this community, Create-A-Souls are a big thing. Doing creations and so on and so forth are a huge, huge, huge thing. It's a big part of the community. What I don't like about them, and this is just personal preference, I don't like how the height difference and everything else can actually determine what hits and what misses. Now, I'm going to show you what exactly I mean right now. Spencer, don't move. Okay, go ahead and block. I can get that at stance. Back up one space, though. There you go. And now he's out of range. But with regular Astaroth, that would hit if he tried to backstep. So it's one of those things where it's like, I would want a basic hitbox for all Create-A-Souls. Like, you can make them short and everything else, but just make sure that the hitboxes stay the same, so that way, no matter what you're doing and no matter what you're using, you can always actually get something out of it. Basically, what it is like, I know people only play their Create-A-Souls, and what I would want is those people who actually play this game religiously because of their Create-A-Souls and so on and so forth, that they actually learn something and benefit from it. Unlike, it's like, oh, this only works because it's a Create-A-Soul. This missed because it was a Create-A-Soul. That leaves a lot out. Damn it, that wasn't a clean hit. I would have won. But that's what I'm talking... I know, but that... AGA... But it's like, that's what I'm talking about. It's like, it would be nice if, see? That would have missed regardless because of how short the hitbox is. So it's like, it's one of those things where you can't help it. And it's just one thing that I would like to actually see. And I know it probably isn't that big of a deal on a lot of radars and stuff like that, but I feel that that would help the game's longevity, both online and off, if they could actually learn regardless of what character they use. You have anything you want to say about that, Spencer? Somebody's gonna watch that and probably be like, you're welcome. Oh, you suck. Nice Just Guard. Nice buffer. Yeah, bullshit you didn't, you piece of garbage. I know you. Damn it! Damn it all to hell! Oh my god! I got that one part! Fuck yes! Okay, that's a good ending right there. I wasn't expecting to grab. I thought you were going to try again. Alright, everybody. Well, that's going to do it for this video. The top 5 that I would want from Soulcalibur VI. Yes, I know I kind of got distracted because of the matches, but I wanted to provide a little bit more entertainment for you guys. So, yeah. I hope you all enjoy this. Be sure to let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, because like I said, this is an open forum and pretty much everything else. I want to know what you guys want, and I want to hear what good points you guys make. And if you like this video, be sure to like it, and if you want to see more Soulcalibur V, it's not going anywhere on my channel, so if you want to see more, be sure to subscribe, because every view, every like, every sub, It helps me tremendously, and I can't thank you enough for it in advance. Spencer, you want to say anything? Censored. What'd you say? I said it was censored. Well, I'll put. Do you really want me to put your YouTube down there in the description? Oh, okay. I didn't know. I'll do it. You know I will. Unlike the Evo for Namco panel, there was nothing announced there. That's why I didn't even do anything about it, because there was no hint or anything like that. I thought it was going to be, but I guess it would probably be better in Tokyo Game Show, because isn't that pretty much like the Evo for Japan, pretty much? Or isn't that like the E3 of Japan, Ugh! Ugh, God. God damn it, Spencer. This was a good ending, and then you ruined it! Take care, everyone, and be safe. Later!